Well, hello everybody, Doug Rucker here with DougRuckerSchool.com and DougRuckerStore.com. We're located right here in the Houston, Texas area, Porter, Texas, right near Kingwood, Humble. We are your Houston pressure washing and soft washing supply store. Yesterday we had a training here for Deco, Paver, and concrete ceiling products. And had a good crew, probably 20-25 people here that took advantage of that. It was absolutely free, and so I was able to record that, so I've got that coming up for you next. Okay everybody, just to let you know from the get-go here, real quick, want to let you know this was recorded via Facebook, our Facebook page, Doug Rucker Store Inc. You might get a little bit better audio there. I'm not sure what it's going to sound like here on YouTube, but if you watch it here on YouTube, then just turn your volume up all the way and get close to the computer. You should be able to hear it pretty good. But it was all done just via Facebook Live. I just wanted to try to get something out here for you guys that were not able to attend, that had requested that we stream it. So you may go to Facebook, Doug Rucker Store Inc. That's our store page, and you might be able to view it there. There's 3 separate videos, so you'd start at the bottom one first and then work your way up. And otherwise, if you can hear it good here on YouTube, then that's awesome too. So hope this helps you guys. We are going to do it again soon with this same team from Deco, so watch for an announcement. Probably 3 or 4 months we'll probably do it again, and hope this helps you guys. Thanks a lot.
It's been going on 2 years, which is a little bit compared to these guys here. But I've been researching it. I'm talking all night videos, educating myself, going to conventions, getting to know people, networking. Networking is big. If you can network with guys, like right now, you guys are all here. You guys may not run into each other and stuff, but give a business card. You might land a job that you need help with, or he has equipment that you don't have to make money on that job. Networking is everything, man. I'm a Deco applicator. I'm not, I don't sell the Deco products yet. I'm going to be getting into that. But I love the product. The product works, it's easy to use. And for me, if it's easy to use and it doubles my sales, I'm in. Okay, guys? So we'll get into that stuff here. We got
Hey guys, I'm John Tatum. I'm out of Jacksonville, Florida. I've been with Deco for about 4 years now. I've been using Deco for 4 years. For me, the ease of use is secondary to the community that it has. For me, it's all about the relationship. Deco has been, if I ever had an issue, ever had a problem, Deco's right there. They don't back down if there was an issue. I've only had one, so I can tell you in 4 years that's good. But they come out, we're happy to train. Again, something that he was talking about, we don't charge you to train, and we're a family. So if you have a problem, you holler, we're out there for you. Mark Tuliano, he goes all over the US and Canada helping people with paver sealing jobs. So your first job, stuff like that, if you are getting into it or really land your first job, call Steve, say, hey man, I'm doing this. He might not be able to come right away, but if y'all schedule it out, he might be able to come over here and help y'all do it. And that's what I do in my area. New applicators, we'll go out and we'll help them to make sure they understand what they're doing, because we want you to succeed. We're not about, I'm Dream Clean of Florida, but for me, it's a bigger picture. I know I'm going to make mine. There's plenty of work out there for everybody. So I'm going to make mine. That's my job to make that happen. But I want to help you make yours too, because it's all about the community and getting there. And that's what I love about Deco. So take it in, ask questions. Make sure that when you leave here, you understand. But if you don't, please continue to ask the questions. We want to make sure you are fully prepared. So Monday, when you go out and you sell that next job, you're ready to go. Okay? Right.
And then this is Chris Hunter. This is a good friend of mine, and Chris has been working with me for about 2 months now. So introduce him. to the video?
Yeah, man, let's jump into the video. This is going to be a quick video on our process on how to do it. This is something that we shot. We had one of the guys come out and video us doing this job here. It's quick. We're not going to spend too much time on this. We'll get to some questions after. Reason being is because me, I'm more of a hands-on. I learn better with my hands than I do if you just show me or read me a book. Okay, so I want you guys to actually see us doing this so you guys can learn that way. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the video. What's going on, guys? My name is Josh with Delgado's Pro Wash, and we're out here in Brooksville, Florida, and today we're going to show you guys how to wash, sand, and seal pavers. All right, guys, so step one, the first thing you want to do when arriving to a homeowner's house is you want to check and see if the pavers are sealed. The way to do that is you want to get you either a bottle of water or any water source that's on the property. It could be a hose, and you want to go ahead and pour a little water on the pavers. If it penetrates the pavers and the pavers start to soak in and it gets darker, then we know that there is no sealer on there. If it beads up and it stays on the top, then there's some sealer on there. That's a whole different process. We go into the stripping process of that. All right, guys, step two, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna downstream some sodium hypochlorite on these pavers, also known as SH. Then once we apply that, we'll let it dwell on the pavers for about 2 to 3 minutes. Let it kill any organic growth that we have going on here. And then we'll turbo nozzle all the joints or wherever we see weeds at. The reason why we wanna do that is because we don't want to put sealer or fresh sand over anything that's poking out of the pavers. Step three, guys, we're gonna go ahead, once we apply the sodium hypochlorite on the pavers, we're gonna use a surface cleaner to go ahead and get the area cleaned up. Once it is cleaned up, we're gonna go ahead and give it a good rinse. Remove any dirt or anything that can be on these pavers, the prep stage of it. Get it cleaned up, move everything to the side, and then we'll be moving on to the next step, which is our sanding. All right, guys, step four. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna make sure that the pavers are cleaned and get it prepped up ready for sanding. Now there's two types of sanding that you can do. There's wet sanding and there's dry sanding. We're gonna do the dry sanding method today only because we wanna get this done in one day. So we're gonna go ahead and start sanding all the joints using a push broom and silica sand. What you don't want is you don't want these sanding lines right here. This is way too thick. We see a lot of these out there. You want to make sure that they're about 1/8 of an inch down into it. So this right here would be considered incorrect. Let me see here. Let's come over here a little bit and we'll see right over here is where you want it to kind of be, because you want to show the paver. You don't want to show the sand. You want to show the paver. Very important. Once this is dry sand, we'll go ahead and we'll blow off any excessive sand that's sitting at the top of the paver with our blower, and we'll get it ready for sealing. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna blow any excessive sand that's sitting on the top of the pavers. We're gonna blow it right off and then get it ready for sealing. You don't wanna blow directly into the pavers because you're gonna blow the sand that you just laid down out the joints. So you wanna kind of keep it on an angle where you're skimming the top of it, okay? We want to make sure that sand really sits into the joints because the sealer and the sand, they play a big role creating joint stabilization. All right, guys, step five, we're going to go ahead and get our sealer mixed up. With that being said, we're going to use a regular paddle that we have. We bought it at Harbor Freight, works great. We mix it all up, get it ready to pour in the backpack. You want to make sure that you mix it up for about 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, you pour it into your backpack sprayer or whatever it is that you decide to use to apply the sealer to these pavers, and you should be ready to go. I know Steven Venturini has a mixer called the Hurricane. Works great, fits right inside the hole of the sealer, and it prevents you from having to take the cap off and have to put it back on. It mixes everything up great for you, and it's a plug and play thing. And our last and final step, we're gonna start applying the sealer to these pavers. The first layer, we're gonna go ahead and apply a flood coat just so it really soaks into there, and then we'll follow it up with a mist. Now you wanna make sure that when you're doing a flood coat that you keep a roller on hand and back roll any puddles. The reason being is because if you let that dry, it will stick on there almost like a scab. So if it dries and it leaves a scab on there, then you're gonna have white spots all on the pavers. So you wanna make sure you're back rolling any puddles. And there you go, guys, just like that, we're gonna get rocking and rolling here, get these pavers washed up, get them sanded, and get them sealed. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so a couple things that I want to discuss with you guys. Maintenance. Maintenance is key. You want to make sure that you're maintaining your backpacks, you're cleaning them out, filling them up with water. Anything that you're using, you're flushing the lines out. Sealer can be very sticky, so you want to make sure, in order for it to work forever, right? We always want something to work forever, which never does. But we want to make sure that we're cleaning it out and doing what we're supposed to be doing on our end. This is a job that we did yesterday. We went ahead, we washed, sand, and sealed this one. As you can see, the same product that we use next door is the same product that we use over here. Now this product, the stones are different, the colors are different, so it made it pop a little more different than the other side. Keep learning, keep educating yourselves, go to conventions, you know, ask around, ask different people. Everybody has different techniques. Everybody does things a little bit different. You can learn a little bit from everybody. Only a fool thinks he knows it all. So keep educating yourself, keep washing, keep sealing, baby.
So what y'all guys think about that video, man?
Yeah, guys, for the record, man, let me tell you something. I'm not a big fan of cameras. I hate cameras all in your face, and when this idea came up to me, I said, I'll do it, why not, right? When they showed up with 4 cameras, different angles, and they were having you look this way and that way and stuff, I got to the point where I said, hey, I can fix this shit, edit it, whatever you guys do, I'm done. So it was fun, we had a great time shooting it. We like to keep it short and simple. So, and the pavers that you've seen in the second, we actually did those with the same product, but you get different results because it's different colors. And those pavers were actually faded. We got before and after pictures. I don't know where we can show them there or send it. But the pavers were actually dull. The reds weren't there. I mean, it was nothing. And that was just using one product that made them pop, lock the joints. I mean, it came out phenomenal.
I got a question. When you say dull and faded, is that when you see the white haze over it?
Yeah.
Or you mean it
like,
will kind of eliminate that white haze?
Yeah, remember at the beginning of the video, we talked about a water test?
Right.
So when you take water and you pour it on pavers, and they don't have sealer on them, it'll darken. That color that it's giving you is what the paver's supposed to, you know, it's what the product is going to bring out the paper, the color.
Yeah. Like I've watched paper, it looks great, and then when
the sun dries it up, they're dull again.
Haze.
That's your opportunity to double your ticket.
But also too, with some of that white haze too, it could be effervescence. So you got to do, you know, your airflow treatment too, with certain substrates.
So, any more questions?
Is that the wet sealer, or is that just?
That's our silicast.
Yeah.
So the wet
That's
look.
the wet look.
Right. So our Silicast sealer, this is our beauty enhancement sealer. So whatever natural colors are in any type of pavers, any flagstone, it's just going to bring out those natural colors with that. And all of our sealers are UV protection, water repellent, and it helps eliminate that organic growth, so it's a lot easier to maintain. So
versus like a matte.
Correct. So our Deco 20 is our matted concrete sealer. But we can also, I've also sealed, some travertine with the Deco 20, so I give my customers that option if they want the matted look or they want more of the beauty enhancement gloss look.
But on the pavers, like the ones you did, could you do it in the matte too?
Yes.
Because I know I'm gonna have customers that.
Correct. The only thing is with the Deco 20, it's not gonna lock in your sand joints.
No.
Because it's not a penetrating sealer like the Silicast and the Travacast that we have. So, but there's an option to use the polymeric sand that you can sweep in and you can water lock in the poly sand and then put the Deco 20 on top of it.
While it's still wet, or is that like it?
You gotta let it dry. It's kind of an extra day process, but I do it for some clients, but I upcharge, on the poly sand and then coming back out. So it's a little more tedious, but if that's what they want to pay for it, we're gonna take care of it for them.
The 3 points you had just mentioned, you said water repellent. Would you mind listing the other 2 again?
UV protection, water repellent, and it's also going to help eliminate your organic growth.
7 points.
Yeah, and if
Yeah,
you guys,
absolutely.
if you guys open this up here
Slow, yeah.
and you look at the product, you're gonna be able to see exactly what the product does for you and how you can pitch it to your customer. Okay?
Right.
Now, when I started doing it, the Deco 20, well, I don't know, you got everybody in here power washed a driveway before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I was washing driveways, I never offered a Deco 20, a sealer on it, because I always thought that the customer wouldn't go for it. So I left money on the table, right? I started pushing for the Deco 20 on the concrete driveways. The reason being is because a good friend of mine actually sealed his own driveway, and when I went to visit him, he was like, Josh, I want to show you something. I said, okay, well, show me. And he takes oil and pours it on his driveway, and the oil runs down the driveway without penetrating the concrete. To me, that's a big seller, because living in an HOA development, oil stains on the driveways, they'll leave you a letter and say, hey, you need to get that cleaned up, okay? And also for people who are working on rigs or working on cars, car leaking and stuff like that, that oil that's on that driveway, if you seal it, if you wash and you seal, you're not gonna have to worry about it. It's easier maintenance, and not only that, and nothing penetrates the concrete. So that was my selling point. So when I started doing that and he showed me that was when I started offering it to homeowners. I said, hey man, you ever thought about sealing this? They never thought about sealing concrete driveways. No, it's a driveway. It's supposed to do what it's supposed to do. The cars park on it, it's gonna get dirty. I'm selling more concrete driveways now than I have. Had I been doing this from the beginning and offering it when I washed the driveway, I would have made a lot more money. So there's a lot of money on the table. You just gotta educate them. They're not educated on it. We can't just go to a homeowner and say, hey, let us seal this for you.
Right.
It's gonna cost you this much money, it's gonna protect it. What's it gonna protect it from? So the more you educate yourself on the product, and this product being so easy to use, and being able to use it in one day, and you don't have to come back, saves you time. Saves you time, saves you money. You can go and work on another house and seal that house that same day. We were averaging about 3 to 4 jobs a day sealing without having to come back. Now, when we have to come back, that's when you start to lose money. So unless you add to it, your price points, you add a little more cash to it to where it covers your trip to come back again, then this is the kind of product you need.
So you're talking about coming back because it needs to dry or whatever?
Well, you got other sealers out there that are 2 parts. If you wash, you can't seal it that same day.
Okay.
So this being a water-based sealer, and being the fact that you can actually get the job done in one day, it's a no-brainer, man.
Right.
It's a no-brainer.
These sealers are all 1-part water-based
So
sealers.
that's a 1-part sealer?
So you don't need to let
All
the
water.
concrete dry?
Yeah.
The concrete, I can wash the concrete and seal the concrete the same day. As long as it's not puddled up on there, which it shouldn't be, and there's not a lot of water on there, within probably 20 minutes of sun dry, dry time, I can go back, start spraying it, and you'll see us doing it out here.
Right.
But man, it's big sellers about this product, man. I've used 2-part sealers where I'm like, okay, I can't do this. We got to come back. And then if you got a helper and you're paying him for the day, now you just paid him, money for the day to come out and do one more job for you guys. And you guys are going to be there maybe 20, 30 minutes, especially if you buy what you need to seal. You know, so you're gonna pay your helper another 100. I don't know what you guys pay him, but say my helper's $125 a day. So I pay him $125. He's gonna come out, help me do this. So I'm paying him $125 for 20, 30 minutes a time, as opposed to just buying the product. I know it works. I know they stand behind it. I know that it does everything that I need it to do. It's easy to apply, and I can get it done in one day. My guys are gonna be all over that.
I was just wondering what, as far as selling to a customer, how long it's gonna last. I mean,
Well, and yeah, go ahead.
So you're gonna get about 2 years on your beauty enhancement sealers. We've had some cases with the Deco 20 lasting almost, what, 4 years?
I've had Silicast last 3. The good thing about the Silicast is because it's a penetrating sealer, whenever you seal it again, you don't have to strip. With the top coat sealers, with the topical sealers that are out there, you're gonna have to strip that off. You can't recoat over the top of them.
Right.
To get the beauty enhancement, because it's got to get into the pavers to get the beauty enhancement. So with Silicast, that's one good selling point. Next time we have to seal it, it's only going to be, say we charged them, and I'm just throwing a number to you guys, say we charge them $1. Next time we come out, it's only going to be 75 cents, because all we got to do is soft wash the top, touch up some sand, and put down the new coat of Silicast. So it really adds value, and that's how you want to promote it to the customer. The guy that just called me is a guy that has been shopping around in my area for paver sealing, and somebody sent him to me, and I just told him I don't know if we're going to do that, because what he's asking us to do, he wants like a super sheen on his thing, because he says, I know it prevents weeds, I know it stops all algae, and I was like, buddy, you're confused, brother. I said, because 90% of the time, algae's going to grow on the top. You can't stop algae. You can slow algae or growth. We call it organic growth.
Right.
You can't stop weeds, because you know where the weeds come from? The top.
That's right. The
Once you
seedlings
seal
are
it,
coming.
when they're mowing yards and stuff around you, those seeds actually get into the sand, and that's when they start to germinate. The sand is sealed, but it still has holes in it to drain. You know, I mean, sand it's not polymeric, I guess is the best way to say it. But so the myth out there that sealing is the end all be all, that's all you're ever gonna have to do to your pavers, is not true. You still have to maintain it, you still gotta keep up with it. So
it's a preventative, and it's just, you know, it's a beauty enhancement for that wow factor,
right.
you know.
But for a driveway, you don't use the Silicast.
No, this is just
For, yeah.
flagstone. We have a lot of flagstone in my area, slate, that we use this a lot on, and the pavers are kind of far and few in between, but there's a lot of new development that they're just focusing on putting in pavers. And all
What about
these
limestone?
limestone too, yep.
We got a lot of limestone around pools, and it gets, with all the pressure washing stuff, I mean, it gets broken down pretty quick.
Right.
It starts coming apart.
Yeah, we do a lot of pool decks with travertine, the blasted marble, limestone, flagstone, slate. And with the Deco company too, like they originated 30 years ago, so this was their first selling point sealer, was the Deco 20, because they use this inside of infrastructures and basements to clear coat the sealer on concrete to protect that from all the moisture and everything that was rising. So
I got two quick questions before I forget them. Are they both as resistant to oil, or is it just the Deco 20 that's more resistant?
They're both gonna
Deco 20 is going to be more resistant,
Yeah,
because it's
because of
more hydrophobic.
yeah.
The Silicast is going to protect, but it's not going to, the seal isn't going to last as long. The hydrophobic part of it isn't going to be last as long. Again, you're putting a beauty enhancement sealer down, so there's two different things you're going to do. You're going to get a little bit of sheen with just the Silicast. It's going to be almost, I want to say a matte finish, but you're going to get all the color. And that's what a lot of people want. A lot of people don't even realize they want it until you start putting the paver down or show them before and afters, and you get to see the beauty.
But if the paver, if the driveway is pavers, right, and like So I'm thinking about oil, right? So you would want to do it with that because it's going to give the protection, right? I mean, there's a choice. Like, are we going with beauty? Or we're going to protect it from oil. You know,
You can do both.
You can do both. It's,
And you, by topping with Travicast.
yeah, that's something else.
that's a different product.
That's another
Yeah,
product.
that's
so,
another product.
Okay.
so once you start to play with your sealers and you educate yourself, you'll know how to manipulate the sealers to do
Got it.
what you want it to do. But
Right.
right now, we don't want to get into that too
Yeah,
much
too-
because we don't want to confuse you.
Mhm.
You know, the Deco 20 concrete, I always think is concrete. You can seal anything with the Deco 20. You know, I like it for the concrete just for that reason because it's clear and there's no need for enhancement in colors or anything. So I'm not going to use this product on a driveway.
Exactly.
I've,
Yeah.
I've had
No, I'm just talking about this customer of mine that I pressure washed his driveway. He's got, I don't even know, 30,000 square feet of driveway and parking area, maybe more. It's huge. There's a road of
Just straight
Pavers.
concrete or pavers?
No, pavers.
Okay.
sanded pavers.
Right.
And I just pressure washed it, not knowing what I was doing. I mean, we had sand, like we didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? Because we didn't do it, we didn't sand it, we didn't know how to do it. And he was happy, it was clean, but next time I want to try to sell him on
That would be a huge upsell, huge ticket for you.
I mean, I don't even know. I'm just guessing. I don't know. It's big. Anyway.
Steven, he would come down and help you with that
Yeah,
one.
something that large.
Tell you what,
Yeah.
I'll come from Florida.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah,
We'll come help you with that because I want you to buy product from me or buy from Doug
I know.
and help you with that
I was
situation.
being smart aleckly. I know he will come and help you.
So here's my selling point to customers. Whenever I'm going to pitch them anything, right? I tell them, okay. The moment you say sealer, they start saying, oh, but and then I'm going to have to strip it off, and then it's going to cost me. You're right. You're going to have to strip it off, and it's going to cost you more money if you use another product. But if we use a product that I want to use on your property, you're not going to have to strip this off. Once you say my average ticket price is $125 a square foot. Okay, so if I'm going to strip it, we're at $225 a square foot. So when you tell a homeowner, I can be at $125 a square foot, and do this with another product that you choose, or I can do it at $2.25 a square foot and strip it after, and then come back and do it again. It's just it costs them too much money. So for me, I shop for the homeowner like I shop for myself. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a product that I don't want to strip after. It's going to be cheaper for you. It's going to be better. You're getting the same results. And even better, because I've used some sealers out there that weren't as good. And it's going to save you money. We won't have to strip this when we come back out. You know, your urethane sealers, you got to strip it. So when you tell a homeowner, if you use a 2-part urethane sealer, because everybody has their best sealer, right? Well, when you use a 2-part, we're going to have to come back and we're going to have to strip it. And that process alone is not fun. It takes a lot to strip property. You know, so that's my seller on this thing. We come, we spray it, it works. When it comes time again, you call me up, I'll come out, wash it, we'll seal it again. You won't ever have to look at that $225 price a square foot. You know, and that's what sells for me. Once I tell them that, the homeowners are always like, hey, you know what? $1.25 a square foot, let's roll with it. Go ahead, get it done. See you in 2 years whenever I start to see that it's failing. And then you come out, wash it again, and apply it again.
Or you can put your clients on the maintenance plan and say, look, if you have some growth that's growing on top of the sealer, give us a call. We'll check back with you in whatever, 8 months to a year, and do a little soft wash treatment on it. Charge them whatever your rate is. Like our rate to come out is $300.
Question. Talk to these guys a little bit about new concrete, because that's a very untapped market where you've got a new parking lot, dentist office, medical plaza, shopping centers even. How soon can you apply this? Because that's a great alternative, again, like you're saying, not only with the concrete driveways, but for some of these parking areas to prevent those oil stains.
Right.
So how long after concrete is poured do you recommend?
30 days.
30 days.
Well, you want it to cure inside and out. So I've always been taught and recommended 30 days for it to cure.
I was on
60? Okay.
So Google says 60 days. Now I know that a lot of people who install pavers, they'll tell I run into this a lot in Florida. They'll tell the homeowner, "We'll seal it for you too." They just laid them down. We'll seal it for you too. You know, 2 days from now, 3 days from now, we'll send somebody out come seal it for you. You can't seal within 60 days. You know?
Pavers you can't.
Pavers. Yeah. Now the concrete, I was told 60 days as well.
Okay.
So I don't really know. That's something to look up. But I was told 60 days on the concrete for new concrete until it cures,
You
and
want
then
it to cure inside and out.
Exactly.
I always thought it was 30
Yeah.
days.
So
Well,
why,
most-
why
mo-
do you have to wait for pavers though? I don't.
Yeah.
because when you lay them, you want to get into
So
it?
pavers, when they bake the paver,
Okay.
so I don't know if you know how pavers are made. They put them in, they bake them. Efflorescence is a natural occurring thing that happens with it. So when they set them down, whenever they install the pavers, as the rain gets on it, it's going to activate that efflorescence and bring it to the top. So you want to wait 45 to 60 days before you mess with them to let them kind of
Breathe.
season
Cure.
and bring up that efflorescence so you can clean it.
But couldn't they have been made a year ago and been stacked in a
They-
warehouse?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if they're not getting that acclimation to the job, they're not getting that rain on them to
Oh, I see.
activate that.
Oh.
Yeah, they're stacked, so
Right,
they're
right.
not breathing.
Okay, it's not just curing. I mean, it's not just drying.
It's
Yeah.
not drying, curing the way you're thinking.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
now on concrete, concrete doesn't really cure for almost a year.
Yeah.
Right.
I know builders don't believe that. That's why they put houses on them in 20 days or something now. But literally, concrete will not really cure for about a year.
Well, a
So-
big major question. I had a customer complain that I might be damaging the concrete. Does this count as the sealer, like using Deco 20? You put that on top and it might
Protect it?
protect it? Is that
It will, but
is
it's
that
not gonna.
kind of what they were?
It's not gonna stop if we're hitting it with hard pressure, because that's usually what tears it up. The
Yeah.
concrete is us hitting it with hard
Yeah,
pressure.
I
or
found
something
myself
like
kind
that.
of stuck to it on the answer. It's like, as long as I'm not hitting an area and etching it out, but then they did have a point. I felt we're etching off a little bit of the top layer.
Yeah, the cream layer.
Yeah, the cream layer.
Yeah.
So
You always want to wait a year after putting any
that
surface
the
cream.
which cream?
It's a cream top layer on
Yeah,
top
yeah.
of
It's like
concrete.
a less kind of a lighter
Correct,
color.
because you want that to cure for a year, because if you're putting a pressure washer on there, you're gonna etch that top cream coat
And expose that.
and expose the aggregate
Yeah.
on
No,
concrete.
no, no. Yeah, no. I've seen it.
Right.
I've probably done it, but I've definitely seen it done with customers.
Mhm.
And but so in other words, like a new house, new concrete with that cream, because that's different, right? Than
Mhm.
right? It's a special treatment or whatever. So you got to wait a year on that before you pressure wash or anything, or no?
To pressure wash, I would.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
I would
can
clean
soft
it,
wash
I would
it.
soft wash
Yeah.
it. And then
You can just
see
put a
it.
hotter mix on there, or even downstream it. If it's not too bad, let it dwell and then just rinse it down. Because if you're putting super high pressure on it, you're gonna etch. It's gonna.
Oh no, yeah,
it's gonna
absolutely.
etch that concrete.
Yeah.
Will Deco 20 help?
Yeah, once that
Right.
concrete's cured, 60 days. I mean, that's something I learned today. So,
Just seal it.
So
seal it,
basically, the
protect it.
ones that are complaining about, you're doing damage to the driveway, we can offer the product that
Yeah.
those ones come.
do a soft wash treatment on it.
But I'm confused as to what damage are they referring to
I
on the
was
driveway,
yeah, I
because
was a little bit stuck on that too.
maybe and that comes where we're educating the customer, because maybe they had a bad experience and they had somebody go out there and put too much pressure on the concrete.
Yeah, etch the concrete.
So now everything is damaging the concrete.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And that's what makes you guys. That's what separates you guys from the rest, is educating yourselves and being able to pitch that to them and say, hey, listen, we're running this much at this many volumes. This isn't going to do anything to the concrete. So just educating them on that, get you solve that problem, and then you sell them into the ceiling. Just seal it, protect it even more.
And see, I'll say another thing about this, the product is great, is that they're not just trying to sell it to you, and then just you go by your way and do whatever. Like, all the Deco guys, man, they talk every day. There's tons of guys that don't necessarily know how to question, even us. All the time send pictures to Mark and the other guys, just say, hey, look, we want to do this. Is this something you would do? And sometimes they're like, yeah, go for it. Sometimes they suggest something else. So I guess that's a big thing, is like you were saying, man, their social group or their team of guys, they always answer the phone like this.
We're
guy
all
talk-
educating each
Talking
other.
about having a giant project, man. We just had a little project, and Mark drove out from Florida actually, and came down and helped us with the project and everything. So they're not, they're there to educate you, like he said, man. There's nobody trying to just sell you something and then you never see nobody again.
Right.
Even Steven himself, I mean, he's always talking to different guys and new guys he sells it to, and yeah, man, it's just a great product. It's just easy to use,
It's like I said, I spent $1,500 when I first started sealing. I had to pay somebody $1,500 to come out to a job and help me seal a pool deck. That was half my profit.
Yeah.
It's invaluable.
And you guys are getting it free. This company's giving it to you guys for free. So they're telling you a way on how you can make more money. You know, you guys got to take it. You got to take it.
Education's key.
Yeah, man. I lost a lot of money on the table, not educating myself. You know, thinking this person, I don't want to tell him my secrets because he might take the job from me.
Right.
He might go underbid it on me. You surround yourself with good guys, and this company here has great guys that if you call them up and you say, hey, this is an issue, they're gonna say, send me a picture. And then if they can walk you through it, they'll walk you through it. If we can't walk you through it, somebody will come out. If it's that big of a deal, because they gotta stand behind it.
Yeah, that's a
You don't get that
serious
from a lot of companies. You buy the product and you go on your way. You know, and then they'll blame it on you and say, well, have you ever sealed before? No. Well, you bought the product and you messed it up. I'm not gonna go and fix it.
upset. Right.
You know, as opposed to this, you're getting a training. Again, you guys are gonna see out there that we don't mix nothing special. It's just sealer, and we're gonna go out there and demonstrate it.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, to move on to that, man, we're gonna go
What
ahead.
is the
Yes, sir.
price for the bucket?
So,
If you wrote it down.
yeah, we got the Silicas is $235 retail plus plus your tax, and then you got your Deco 20 is $160 plus your tax. You're gonna get about 800 to 1,000 square footage here, because with the pavers it's soaking in 1/8 below the bevel because you really want it to penetrate. Concrete anywhere from 800 to 1,000 squares per bucket. Just because if it's newer, if it's older concrete, if you have aggregate or regular concrete, so it just kind of depends on those factors.
And we can get this problem here?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about all that later after we start doing some demonstrations, because we want y'all to see some finishing results on what we're doing with the concrete, flagstone, and some pavers. So
I mean, you know, when we talk about price, really what we need to know is what it's gonna cost us per square foot
correct. So
compared with what we're charging.
So I'm in Louisiana, okay?
Right.
This is a new untapped thing in Louisiana with sealing. And I come from the pool industry before I started my pressure washing business. So I kind of set the bar at pricing in my area. So on pavers, I mean, if it's a large area, I'll knock it down to about $1.50, $1.75 a square
For pavers.
for pavers. But on some cases, I'm in between $2 and $2.50 a square foot.
Now that's everything, the sanding, the cleaning,
Clean
Yeah.
and seal it. But I mean, if you have a 2,000 square foot job at $2 a square foot that you finish in 2 days, that's $4,000.
okay.
Probably costing
You know,
your material, you're probably looking at about 60 to 65 cents a square foot.
For sanding and all that. That's buying the sand.
all your material,
all that
That's your
stuff.
right? Your
Okay.
labor that you're paying. So
Right.
you gotta play with your numbers too.
Sure. No, absolutely.
And set the market. Florida's a little different.
If I could get $2.50, I'd retire.
Yeah.
I am at $1.25 to $1.50. But when you said $2.25 to strip, you got to in mind $3 minimum to strip and seal, because stripping is probably the thing I hate.
Yeah, stripping is a totally different animal, but I mean we'll touch on that a little later.
And they sell stripper.
Yeah, we have the stripper
The
too.
answer to that is how much money do you want to make?
Right.
Reasonably.
Yeah.
Because this is
Because
new.
your price is not going to be my price.
Bingo.
Your
Texas
price
area
isn't going
too.
to be
Bingo.
This is-
Yes.
You guys have an opportunity here to actually set your price if you guys keep and stay within that range. Where it starts to mess up is when someone becomes desperate and then they start going into 90 cents or $1 a square foot to do it. Then it screws it up for you, because now they're assuming that every time that they come out it's 90 cents a square foot,
Correct.
right? So it's how much money do you want to make? And you're going to run into these big numbers where you're going to be nervous. I was nervous when I had to go to the doctor and ask him for $6,000 down payment. You know, I was like, man, I can't ask him for that. He's going to flip out on me. You know, he gave me a hard time about this. But when people who are dealing with this kind of stuff, they know already it costs.
Right.
You know, so when you go to them and you say, I need $3,000 on a $6,000 project as a down payment, you know, they're going to give it to you. No problem. So it's how much money do you want to make? Right.
And look, I'm not trying to boast or brag, but we got a hospital job coming up next weekend, $15K to clean, resand, and seal a whole entryway.
Takes
So
about 3
that-
days.
It'll probably take us 3 days, man. Just the way, because we got to coordinate with a lot of different stuff. But man, there's money to be made.
And it's a
in
before and
sealing.
after too. That's
Right.
the biggest thing. Like sure, man. People, when they're after, you can tell them about it or whatnot, but once you start having a little collection on your phone of some before and after pictures, that sells everything. Like, we get a lot of the people that the ones that are really interested when they see the results or the before and after, they're like, yeah, that's what I want. They don't really care. Just send the quote. That's what I want.
Right.
You know, and then their neighbors call us like, oh my God, what'd y'all do? You know, and then we wind up doing, 2-3 jobs on the same street or neighborhood, because when people drive past the paver and the colored driveways and stuff, flagstone, I mean, you're gonna see as we do it. I mean, it's the before and after is incredible. It really is, man. It looks great.
The moment that you spray it on, the customers are always, wow. It's like,
That wow factor.
when we see, I washed a lot of homes, so whenever I wash them, the customer comes on, it's like, wow, this house looks really good. And then you start thinking to yourself, I watch so many homes, I can't tell what's clean and what's dirty no more. I just got a routine with it, right? It's the same thing with the pavers. The moment that you start spraying the pavers and you lay that sealer on there and the homeowner comes out and sees that nice sheen and the color's popping again, they start thinking like, wow.
Yeah.
And they ask, is it gonna stay like this?
Can you use this one on slate?
I'm sorry?
Can you use it on slate?
Yes.
Yes.
And so on some slate too, I like to do a little mix, which we'll get into also with our Travicat sealer. I do a 70-30 mix, so it'll have the beauty enhancement, but also that gloss pop.
Yeah.
So, but when you're doing substrates like that, like marble or slate or flagstone, you want to go real light. You don't want to go too heavy, because if you're putting too much, it can be super tacky. But we're gonna go over all that. So y'all guys want to get started on some pavers and doing some sand in the
You got
ceiling?
any questions?
Yeah. Any more questions on anything or?
Oh, I had one question.
Yes, sir.
From before. As far as doing concrete and selling it, does it? Do you get any protection from tire marks?
So
Because
it's still
It
it
helps.
helps, but it's still a maintenance type of thing. I mean, if they're coming in just,
Remember, it's a penetrator, so it's penetrating the pores inside of the stone. So anything at the top, I mean, can still get dirty. It's long as nothing's gonna come through the stone though. It's because you're sealing the pores on it. So tire marks, that's a whole different. That's on the top.
But that's why I like putting the clients on a maintenance plan too.
Yeah.
It
To
will
come
make
back
it
and
easier to
check
clean.
Way
Yes,
easier to
correct.
clean.
It does make it easier.
It
So
makes it easier to
that
clean.
was my point about this new construction, and like you said, I'd always heard 30 days you can seal new concrete. That's what I'd always heard, like you said. But you got some of these high-end medical plazas or dentist offices or whatever. You seal their parking spots, and then they're protected against the oil stain, and then you get them signed up on maintenance cleaning to keep their concrete clean.
And you clean them?
It makes the job easier.
Job easier, there's more money in your pocket to come out 6 months to a year, do a soft wash maintenance thing on them, and then once that sealer starts to fail, go back out and you can just reseal it without having to strip it.
And keep in mind, it's a one-day process. That alone is big. Just one-day process. Go wash it. You're gonna wash it anyways, right?
Okay, we're gonna go out and do some demos, so I gotta cut the camera off. We'll be back just a little bit
That's really good.
So
for the
say 1
rest,
year, it's gonna last
or
longer,
for some more.
but
So
we try to get through.
stick around. We'll be right back. Hey guys, real quick, don't forget, if you're getting value out of this and my channel's helping you guys, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, leave me a comment, all that kind of stuff. Certainly would appreciate it. It's good to hear comments that some of these things that I'm posting, these videos, are helping you guys and getting your business started, because that's my passion, is to help you new guys getting started in this business. I love being a part of helping you be successful. I can't certainly take any credit or all the credit or whatever. I'm just somebody that here is just trying to help you guys get your business started. And so subscribe, leave a comment, hit that like button, ask a question if I can help you in any way. And as always, check out our school at pressurecleaningschool.com. We have monthly trainings there, as well as a great, awesome online video school that will drastically help you cut your learning curve. You can see that too at pressurecleaningschool.com. So y'all have an awesome day.
Because you want to have your substrate as clean as possible before you can do any sanding and sealing. Because if not, it's going to be visible by seeing that once you put the seal.
Question. they do have a brick. I mean, some people do their driveways in a brick. That's, okay. All right. I just. Well, people get. I mean, you're gonna get these. The more you can tell people, they're like, "Ooh, he knows what that is."
No, absolutely. Yeah, when you're educating your client, man, and you can tell them, and they ask you, and you know, right, what to tell them. I mean, communication and what you know is key.
Yeah, I mean, like I educated myself in window cleaning, and you know, you got all these different kinds of windows that do this, that do that, self-cleaning. And if you could, I've gone to builders and told them a couple things just because I needed to know, and they would go back and go, "Oh, this is the expert."
Well, yeah, that's an upsell too, because if you know what you're talking about, they're gonna be like, "I want to go with this guy."
Exactly.
You know what I
No.
mean?
Yeah, that's no joke.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I was explaining too, we have the option of the poly sand, which is here. So you had a great question about if you wanted to use the Deco 20 to put into the pavers, because the Deco 20 is not going to penetrate and lock in that sand. So it's a two-step process. So after you clean and you use the Deco 20, you can use the Polymeric sand to put in the joints, sweep in, blow off, and then water lock it in, like say kind of early in the morning. Then you can come back once it's, you know, pretty dry.
Water locking in, is it just?
So it's a water locking sand.
Oh, okay. There's some chemicals.
Correct. So when you water that poly sand, penetrate that rock hard, then you can put the Deco 20. But
one thing about poly sand though, you want to make sure it's dry. If it's not dry,
It's gonna stick on the top.
It's going to stick on the top.
Correct.
Plus, if it's not dry enough, anytime I do poly, it's the next day to let it dry out, and I make sure the substrate is super dry. Because if I don't, had new guys about a month and a half ago, and they're like, "Hey, it's good and dry," and I'm like, "Okay, go ahead and start laying sand. I'll be there 20 minutes away." Well, I get there and they got sand everywhere, and it's all clumped up because it wasn't dry. It looked dry on top, but it still had the dark shade to the paver because it was still wet, so the joints were still wet. And as soon as they started getting that poly sand in there, and working on it, it just clumps up and started turning into balls. So we had to wash it all off.
Oh, it doesn't stick to the top. It just expands.
Not right away. It doesn't stick to the top. Once you let that dry up after you've gotten it wet, it's almost like a concrete or a grout.
yeah, make sure if you're using poly sand that it's completely dry, because it'll clump up on top of you and it'll start to dry on top of the pavers.
But once you get in and it does seal, whatever it does in the joints, is it still porous?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And once it's in the joints and that, you blow everything off. Just you do. I like to do 2 or 3 passes to lock.
No,
it
what I
in.
mean is when it's all done and locked in, is it still porous?
Inside the joint, yes, it's still porous inside the joints.
Oh.
Yes, sir. So, but our go-to here is with this is our silica sand, and this is our 2030. So in Louisiana they don't sell this. I ordered it by the pallet from Florida. I'm not sure in the Texas area you might be able to, especially order it through like an Ace Hardware or any kind of.
If you go to Ace, they get it from Quick Creek, and it's fine sand. You get a fine or a medium. I prefer the fine, some prefer the medium. Depends on the size of the joint.
Doug, do you know where to get it around here?
We can see if Doug can start carrying some sand.
When we get you
So basically on a larger area of pavers, I mean, we're just gonna cut the top off and kind of start. This is a 2030.
What is
2030
that?
mix.
Just the grain.
The grain
Size
of
of
the
the
same.
Oh. Don't know what that is. Can you see how fine it is? Yeah. Okay.
Let's see how fine the
And
sand
that's-
is.
What are those numbers? 20, 30, 20, 30, 70?
It's more of like.
I think that what is it? The finer, it's just how fine it is.
But I think it's
Probably just more of a water locking sand. It's a lot thicker. Silica sand, 30 grams. Yeah, and you can take a picture of that.
No, I just wonder if is this like 20-30 mix of something? That 20-30 is just the size? That's all I was asking.
I think it's a little size. It's actually the same. So fine it is like size 20 or size 30.
Oh, okay.
You've never seen it before?
Yes. So two different sizes. Anything in between those two sizes.
Thanks, sir.
See how he's, so depending on how big the property is, the job is, okay, you'll know how much sand to put down, but you want to start off a little bit, so that way you can actually just pull with it.
And you're gonna see how much sand. It takes a lot more than you would think. Like looking at it, you're like, oh, ain't no sand gonna go in there. But actually, it does take.
Especially these, they're on a board, so they don't fall right to them.
But you're doing, this doesn't have any sand in it.
No, yeah, most of them have,
Most of them have the sand underneath it, and so it's gonna fall in more. I mean, this is just going straight through.
This is like if we were laying a brand new.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, once you get your sand in, I mean, larger areas you have a push broom too, but we're just using this little small broom.
Just gonna kind of let
Pull
it
back
fall
and
in the
forth.
grades. And you see the thick lines on there, you just kind of keep coming with it, running towards it. Let it fall in. This is our dry method for sanding.
When would you use the wet method?
Use the wet method at any time. We could have did wet on here as well, but it's such a small area. Now this is my thing. When I'm gonna do wet sanding, I'm gonna wet, if I have 4 or 5 jobs, I'm gonna wet sand them all, come back tomorrow, and all I'm gonna do is seal everything. You know? I'm not gonna wet sand the job that I can get done in one day.
So what's
Sanding?
What's the difference? What's the? Yeah. Why is that better for some reason?
I've never tested the area that I wet sanded before. They say that it penetrates more and that it falls more when water hits the sand. It actually drops deeper into the joints. But I haven't found any different.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe.
So
it
why
is.
would you wet sand?
Preference?
Preference. All preference.
I was always taught and trained to dry sand. I did wet sand at one time, and I thought it was too much of the best.
Yeah.
And I said, well,
We love the drop sand.
So plus when you wet sand, and I'll tell you this, when you wet sand, you gotta come back once it dries up pretty good. And it's hitting the corners, so you're still gonna be working the broom and basically fine cleaning that area.
So you guys aren't selling us wet sanding process,
No.
apparently.
Not a big fan of it. I'm just giving you what's out there, and you choose what works for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why I would go wet sand.
right. I mean, it's and look, your sand can go a long way, man. It's very deceiving whenever you pour some. I mean, look how much we put in, and it's like, look how much we have left over.
So you're just gonna push the sand around in it. If we had a larger area, it'd be.
Right. If we were doing the whole driveway, we'd have 3 of us just on push brooms, laying out sand.
But you see how easy it is just to get it down into the grooves?
On average, for what size, how long it takes to do like a 2,000 square foot driveway?
I mean, I have myself, I have 3 employees, so
Depends how hard the work is.
yeah, man. I mean, we can knock that out. In 45 minutes. Once you get the gist of it, you get it, and you just
Even just me and him, two people,
or just me,
knock it out,
me
bro.
and Chris doing it. I'll send my 2 guys to go clean it either early that morning or the day before, and then me and Chris will come out. We'll get this in and see what the next day later on.
It doesn't have to be perfect, but we're just gonna kind of play with it, show you how easy it is to.
That's a big part, man.
It's just like anything.
I'm constantly on the phone. I'm watching the radar and all that because your dry time period, you want 4 hours of seal of dry time.
Does it get that?
No rain. I mean, we have a lot of pop-up storms too.
Done sweeping.
So I know if I see something that's 30% or 50%, I'm not sealing shit because I don't want to go out there and put it down, and then a pop-up storm comes and I'm gonna have to go out and reseal it.
That's good.
Let's get the rest of this sand off. Question just on it, like, so, and of course, when you got a push broom, you're gonna push it, kind of put it in there and pull it in there. Thing off.
You know that hotel you
So on your brick, there's the edge right here. There's a little string. You can feel it when you rub your finger across it. This piece right here is called the chamber. And you want your sand to be up to or below the chamber.
But anyway,
So you don't want it to be over the top of the chamber like this. You want it to be down in there. So
All those Pavers have that little chamber on?
most pavers have the chamber.
way down.
The thick. That would be incorrect right there. Thick line, like that, not much sand.
Oh, so you just sweep it up under there.
Yeah, if you have some access,
Yeah, so
you always got some access to
This
add
would be
into the bag.
incorrect. This is what you want right around here. We're gonna blow it with the blower, but you want to show paver. You don't want to show sand lines.
You get, you mind if I put this out on the thing a little bit? So as I'm working it, I'm coming like this, right? I'm coming through, and then I come down the long line because it will bunch up in the joints, and even before I blow it, I'm hitting it like this. I want it to be an easy blow, so I don't blow it out. Don't want the sand to be in there.
You want it to fall in between those joints, man.
You see how he's showing paver?
So
He's
sorry.
not showing thick sand lines. He's showing all paver.
On larger joints, you're going to have some larger buildup. So just understand that. It just needs to be down below.
So you want to be able just to blow it off the top lightly, rather than
They're blowing it out the joints.
Because look,
You're gonna skim it.
Right.
sand is necessary. Sand is part of the installation system. Sand is really what helps bind all these pavers together.
For stabilization.
So if you don't have the sand in there, like you were talking about your job, that you cleaned it up and blew all that sand out, well now when he drives and say he turns, you're going to shift pavers. And what happens when pavers shift, they don't stop. They're going to continue to shift a little bit at a time. So you're going to start pushing them out on the end. So now we got to repair, we got to do resand and seal. But now,
See how nice and clean it looks?
we just blow it off. Got the blower.
So these are key
Guys,
factors.
if you got phones on you, man, don't be scared. Take a picture.
Right.
You know that way you always have something to go back to.
Which way are you blowing? This way?
Yeah, I'm gonna be blowing that way, guys. Watch yourselves.
Watch yourself. Watch your eyes and stuff, man.
So you don't want to hold the blower down because all that sand that you just put in is gone. You know, so you kind of want to.
So on edges, driveways, all your edges, like this, you're never gonna get it to fill up all the way, unless it has concrete all the way to the top. It's always gonna run out. So you just have to understand that as you're doing it. Once it's sealed, it's gonna lock it in, but
that's
make
okay,
sure,
you're
yeah,
saying.
it's okay for it
okay.
to have that missing
that
sand
rub
on
off.
the edge.
You're gonna find that some four jobs that you do, you're gonna put sand in it, and it's just gonna keep disappearing on you. It's gonna keep dropping. No matter how much sand you put in there, it's always gonna keep going away because it doesn't have anything that's holding it in place.
You'll be surprised by how many pools have washout by them. and that's just a big hole next to the pool. So you don't ever see. So as you start filling with sand, I mean,
What do you do in that case?
Washout.
What do you do in that case?
So here's your pool head. So you're going into the pool here, and here's your paver.
There's nothing that you can do when it comes
Over
to
by
that point.
equipment.
So don't try to like rig something.
No, don't. You're gonna just gonna use the water thing, and then when underneath it finds a mistake, you just
Right, but it's so that the water will.
Yeah, or it's just when sand is washed out.
So you see, no sand on top. All I'm doing is just skimming it, kind of getting any extra sand that's on top of it to go away. And then now we're going to be going into the sealing process of it. So we're going to grab our bucket, we're going to mix up.
So you're not looking for it like perfect uniformity and as far as depth and stuff. I mean, it's going to be a little.
The sand's going to fall as much as it can fall.
Right.
You know.
All right, fellas. So my go-to, I'm always prepared, man. I always got a lot of different sealing things as far as gloves, stakes, towels. Anytime that you're mixing up any type of sealer, you want to be able to put down a tarp, some type of visqueen. You want to keep the property clean. You don't want to have stuff running off onto the pavers or backsplash anywhere else.
You're going to get some of this product onto the grass if it's up against grass.
It's
right?
okay if it's not going to hurt landscaping or anything. It's all eco-friendly. It's a water-based sealer.
It's okay to use
Yeah.
And why are you mixing it up? What's the product like without it? I mean, does it separate or something?
It separates and a lot of the stuff falls to the bottom. So you want to stir it up for a good 2 minutes.
So you don't have to take the whole lid off.
Correct. And this is with our hurricane stirrer. It's so much easier to plug and play instead of having to take the whole lid off. You just go straight to the bottom, plug and play.
And do you need, like, say you use a gallon of this and let it sit for 3 weeks or whatever?
No problem. Mix it back up. You need to mix it.
Always mix it. Every time that you're doing a sealing job, you mix your sealer. And the shelf life on your sealer, if you leave it inside, you're going to get a whole year.
How do you know when you're done? Yeah, that was 2 minutes.
2 to 3 minutes. You
can't-
just
you can't
wanna do
really
some
overdo
figure
it,
eights. You can't over. I mean, if you want to do it longer, but we like to stay in it for about 2 to 3 minutes. So on smaller areas, man, this is just a 2-gallon battery sprayed. I mean, look, I've done it with pump-up sprayers. I don't like to do it with pump-up sprayers because when you're pumping your different dilutions, you might do it 10 times one time, 20 times another time, so you're not getting a full even spray. So I like to use anything that has 1 GPM or under, just depending on how much area that you're covering. Or if you're in tighter spots, I just like to use a smaller 2-gallon limit.
And then Chris, go into pouring it.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Why? So when you pour it like this, maybe you might think, let me pour it like that, right? The problem is, as soon as you pick it up, it's going to start coming out.
There's a built-in air vent in here.
Over like this.
Right, so it's not going to bubble, it's not going to come out of there all crazy.
See how it's not coming out yet? And I haven't even started.
So you know how when you pour something, if you're doing it straight from the nozzle, it'll have that little kick that then you got spilled all over the place. Well, if you do it on the
Yeah, I
opposite
forgot
side and you pour it,
how
it's
the thousands
actually,
were.
so it actually just comes nice and smooth like this. Right into that.
And you see, that's why you always want to have something down for spillage or have your little rag on something,
And it's water based, so water, obviously, little rag.
And this one was actually open, so this here, only luck to come into this. With the Deco, down on the front. Okay. So then when you pour it, instead of pouring it like that, you turn it over and you pour it like this.
Create some air gap, of course.
Yeah.
You got your own set.
Oh, man, right there, baby. Oh, he just, somebody took it off.
Here.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
All these little tips.
And look,
No, yeah, for sure, yeah.
y'all have to constantly, whenever you're getting into sealing and all that, it's all about your prep work too, man, and cleaning your stuff out. You know, because if you leave the sealer in here, and it gunks up, and if you know you're not flushing it out constantly, man, your sprayer is just gonna crap out on you. You're spending a lot of money. I mean, this ain't $90, you know. So we're gonna use a cone tip and get this primed up. Where's the roll at? Inside, in the bucket.
Just a nap roller. This is like whenever you go see spray, just a mix it.
On that trigger.
If there's too much. You know.
Is that just a normal tape roller?
It's just a regular like nap roller.
Nap roller, 3/4. It takes a little longer to prime. And you always, you know, after cleaning it out, you want to go to like a little grass area and flush out your water out your line first before you start putting your sealer down.
He's saying make sure you don't rinse out the sprayer and then leave all your sealer in your hose. Prime it back up and spray water through your pump sprayer. That way it ain't all bumped up next time.
So what I like to do is when I have somebody with me, I always say, hey, I'm gonna do the sealing, you're gonna do the back rolling. So while I'm spraying, if it's not a big puddle, he's not gonna touch it because we want to penetrate the stone and bring out the color. Now if it's a puddle, he's gonna come behind me, he's gonna back roll it.
And from the side, obviously.
On the side, wherever he's at, yeah.
So when I'm spraying, I like to do circular motions. So I'm covering everything here because if sometimes when you're going straight like this or you have a fan tip, you know, you can see that straight line. So it's better to do a circular motion in my opinion.
Is it good?
Deco 20 is a clear, I mean, it looks like water. You can tell it's correct. Yeah, you'll see it if it's plugged up in certain areas. That's why you always want to have a back roll. They call it undulations. Because if you have too much undulation in one area, little pieces where it sits, you don't want to do that because it's going to clump up in a sense. So you just want to kind of get back roll in little areas just for it to really penetrate.
So were you waiting like a few seconds for it to dry a little bit before you started back rolling? Or
Just
would he have started as soon as it started?
is in those puddled up areas because you don't want to get too ahead of yourself. Because if you're in an area and you can't get to it, you don't want to walk on it. But something else that works too, you could take a blow or two afterwards and just kind of blow the undulations out as well.
But that also helps spread sand.
Yeah, so
When it's wet, so that's a little harder to
yeah,
do.
you gotta be careful with that too.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you'll find different age birds. Some birds.
So what did you just see that you went back and sprayed?
I saw it, like see in this corner how it's
Oh, okay.
just drier in this area.
And yeah, and usually whenever we're working together like this, he sprays it, and I pretty much come straight behind it, and like back roll and smooth it out, just so he's not having to spend a bunch of extra time being super perfect. He can do what he does, and then I come behind him and just make sure.
Oh, because
You're
by,
the detailer.
Yeah,
This
the
mess,
detail,
like
yeah,
you say?
exactly.
He's my buffer.
Yeah, that's right.
So in other words, you could do the job of him respraying like he just did with that.
Oh, with
just
the,
by
yeah.
spreading it around.
It will start to get saturated with sealer,
Yeah.
and so then you'll have like maybe a couple feet where you just push on it to get it out, and you know, yeah, I mean, you could technically seal with this, right? And so, yeah, he's coming through putting the main majority of it on, and then I'm coming in that way. He's not having to spend all day. Right. And you see how fast it soaks it up. I mean, that's a wrap.
Yeah. So we're just gonna really
How
kind of.
quick is that going to dry on your roller?
You just don't know.
Yeah.
They're water based, so I mean, you just clean them out with some water.
No. I'm saying, but while you're working,
Oh,
how
they don't
quick?
look-
No,
Yeah.
not that fast.
Hey Steve,
Yes, sir.
let's say you're doing a flagstone pool deck
Right.
and the sun's out, and all of a sudden, just by chance, you get a little drizzly rain.
I mean, yes.
The drizzly
That happened
It
to
does.
me.
Right.
I had him on the phone.
Yeah.
When y'all talk about
Yeah, it's
when
happened to me
y'all- when
before
y'all talk
too.
about them helping, he was right there. They even had Mark call, Mark Giuliano.
Right.
So
And look, it happens, guys. I mean, look, we can't control the weather elements, but you got to be on top of. I mean, I'm constantly looking at what you want to seal over 50 degrees, and you don't want to seal over 95 degrees. So right. So early in the morning, you gotta take into consideration if it's dewy, if there's it's still wet in certain areas. So there's a lot of factors when it comes to sealing, man.
So when we're talking about
Like
the
early
age,
in the morning.
when we talk about the age of pavers, you can kind of see these pavers here are older because you see all the aggregate in them. So not to get too advanced in your sealing, but on those type of pavers, I would tint them. So I would add tint to help cover up the aggregate or minimize the look of the aggregate, because now we have the dark color that's going to be there, and then those white aggregates. So that'll help cover that up.
So you can add a color tint to the sealer too, but I mean that's
we'll
totally advanced.
Yeah, we'll probably come out here on another time.
I'm
doing
still
another
learning.
training on it.
Yeah, I'm still learning with the color tint right now too. So, but when you have pavers that are like 10, 15 years old and they're just dull, I mean, like John was saying, you can see a lot of the aggregate in these colors, or they're just like there's no color at all. You can add that color tint, but that's something we'll get into on a way later.
Just throwing you options.
Options.
We know there's options.
So what do you do? So back to the little drizzle that just happened right now.
Right.
What's the solution?
So if that's going to happen and it comes through, say, for just like 10, 20, 15 minutes, it's going to wash it away. Because you need,
It is gonna wash
it's going to wash it away. It's water-based. You need 4 hours dry time.
But it's not going to hurt anything.
It's not going to hurt anything.
Just you're going to have
But
to
you're
come
going to
back.
have to reapply. So if you're there and it comes through, and you have, it's just running off of there, then you're going to have to come back, reapply, and just back.
Another thing that can happen is if you have a light drizzle, it can put white spots. You'll get white spots across the top, and if you just leave that alone, they'll go away. Because basically it's the sealer mixing with the water, and until it cures out and dries up completely, it's going to look a little white spot. And it could take a day or so, but you'll see that it goes away. So in Florida, look, we have pop-up showers all the time. I know y'all have them here. So when we're sealing and it's 0% chance of rain at 3 o'clock, guess what's going to happen? It's going to rain. So it's a quick bypass, 5 minutes. If it's just a mist or a light rain, then I'm good with it. But if it rains heavy and you start seeing the sealer move, then that's when I really.
So all you need to do is wait for it to dry a drier day, obviously the next day or whatever it is. Come back and spray the sealer.
What I would do if it rains while I'm doing the job, I'd go sit in the truck.
Yeah, wait
After it stops raining, I would come out and look and see what's going on with the sealer. If there's sealer, if I see sealer pass, then I know I need to rinse that area or roll that area out to get it off of it, and then come back and just do another light coat.
Come back another day.
No, I would wait for it to dry up. I'd wait an hour or so.
Overlap it, there's no overlap.
It's not going to hurt to overlap as long as you're not mixing the travel cast into it.
Right. So 4-hour dry time on everything before you want to have any type of people walking on it.
What about driving?
Driving on it, 48 hours. So that's why we have our stakes, our caution tape, let the homeowners know, because people, they don't care when they're coming in they want to turn around somebody's driveway. I mean, they'll mess your whole job up. So you want to make
Get
sure
your
you're
cars out of the
prepared.
garage, park in the
Correct.
street, because you gotta wait 2 days.
Correct. You want to communicate with your
Is that
client.
concrete also?
Concrete, 24 hours. Yeah, on the Deco, 24 hours. But on certain times when it's cooler temperatures, like right now, like cool in the morning, I tell my clients 72 hours. Just for it to completely cure, because you don't want them pulling in that driveway and tearing up that sealer until it completely cures. They're spending a lot of money.
With our company is 24 to walk, 48 to drive. But if you do different weather elements, you can definitely make it has an effect on it. Because of course, cold weather is going to take longer to drive.
Well, I mean, it's like it's cool today, but it's gonna get up to the 70s later in the sun. I mean, so we're still back at 48.
Right. So I mean that's why it's key to want to seal early in the morning and just having that cure time, and it's not getting too hot, because if the pavers are over 100 degrees or 110 degrees, which I have a little laser gun where you can get your temperature measurement, because if you do that and laying the sealer down, it's going to flash over and it's not penetrating into the sun.
What's gonna dry soon?
It's going to dry. It's just kind of flash.
Yeah, but so even out here, even if it's like 90 degrees, but it's been in the sun all day.
So what I tell my customers too is if they have a question, I tell them if they have a question, come touch it, because you can touch it, and if it feels like it's fine, then you know you can walk on it. But on driving, it's minimal 48 hours. I never tell them earlier than 48 hours.
Well, I mean, if I was doing a project and I had the option to say, look, nobody steps on this for 2 days, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Just because you want to ensure that, somebody ain't moving furniture back on it or whatever. Now, obviously, there's scenarios where you just can't do that. They got this and get that going on. But in general, if you can let them go the whole 2 days without doing that, that's going to be a win-win. Right. Because you don't have to worry about
If you find yourself in a situation where you think, I don't know, this might be too hot to seal, or should I seal it right now? Seal it back in your hand. On the back of your hand. If it's hot on the back of your hand, you shouldn't be sealing that. But if you can lay your hand flat on it, and it's all right.
See, the sealer wants time to penetrate into the stone, but if it's really hot, what happens when you put the sealer on, it starts drying really quickly before it even has time to penetrate, and then you see that white kind of hazy stuff because it hasn't had time. As you can understand in here, you can see how it's penetrating into the stone and the colors are starting to come out.
Already?
And the second day usually even looks better than the first day, so it does like time to be able to cure, the sealer.
Yeah, as y'all can see here, man, the silicast already we put down 5-10 minutes ago. It's already starting to bring out the natural colors to the paper. So,
kind of even everything out too. When we first did it, kind of some of the stones were blotchy, but everything's starting to kind of soak in.
If you're doing a pool, right, and so when you're doing the stone that is bordering the pool,
the coping,
and the edge that drops down, is it going to affect like
anything in the pool? So what I do with the coping edge around the pool, I don't spray it, I back roll it. Yep. I'm gonna back roll that coping. Even though if some overspray gets into the pool, it's a water base, it's not gonna hurt it.
But you don't want it dripping.
You don't want it dripping or anything, so we like to back roll the coping. In a dual area or even in tight areas, we'll back roll into some tight corners. But prep is key on anything, man. So we always like to take, some of what's that brown paper?
Just like painter's paper?
Yeah,
like
craft paper, and put that all, like say for sealing pavers here, we're gonna run about 3 feet up.
Just tape it off. So that we can work.
So it's just so much easier to spray, and if some back spray gets on it, you don't have to worry about wiping it off or whatever other stone or stucco or anything else. So once we come and it completely cures, we can take everything down.
So we use these too, like for, when you're spraying something, if you don't want to spray it on somebody's kitchen, you kind of shield it or whatever. You just got to be more careful with this because when the sealer gets on here, it'll drip, right? So if you're spraying this like this and you're not paying attention, you walk over somewhere, you drip the sealer everywhere. You just got to be a little more cautious whenever you're using this.
But you see, there was nothing special that we did to these pavers, except wash them, re-sand them, and apply the sealer to them. And already, with that being said, look how dark the pavers are getting. Look how much heat you're getting on them already. So, nothing special here, except just washing them, sanding them, and applying the sealer.
But remember too, within that 48 hours, it's still curing. So when you come back in 24 hours or 48 hours, it's gonna pop even more. You know, when you come back to visit, because it's still penetrating 1/8 below the bevel. It's still penetrating those papers.
I swear I've had some, and you're in the process like this, and you're like, yeah, man, this looks like crap. This looks bad. And then the next day, it's like, and your customer's like, wow, this is amazing. I'm like, yeah, I know.
We're about to get here in Houston, the ridiculous
Oh yeah,
quality.
we have it in Louisiana right
Fine.
now.
I mean,
So I mean, as long as you, with your clean and prep,
as it
and
starts to fall though, as it's curing.
yeah, you get the big, yeah,
I guess it would depend on really.
with the pollen spores or whatever that's falling.
You just kind of be in a situation
Yeah.
where if you're under a tree, it's steadily dropping.
Dropping.
Yeah, but you don't want it. You know, you don't want it because it will stick.
Right.
It's
For sure.
Could, yeah.
So that's kind of the situational base of what. Pollen, don't treat a little bitty just to get right across your car. That would be fine. But, you know,
Big spurs, yeah.
Because we get, I'm out in Austin, we get like
Right.
this green, I mean, it just like coats the window. Oh my God.
It's a blanket.
Well, that's something in your
blanket.
area too that you
Blankets
might
everything.
want to kind of hold off on until everything's just falling, because that could be a problem with you know, with it curing that it's just falling. They got a tree that's just over with all the pollen
What about
spurs.
leaves? Crap like that.
Leaves, I mean, we've had some situations to where some leaves are blowing on there, and it's really not going to harm it as long as it's not on top of there. And you put
Well,
the
it's
seal
wet.
on. Correct.
But you do have to be careful. We've done a few jobs where a couple months ago where the grass is still dead, they came through and cut it, and so there's just a bunch of little shavings, and if you're not careful, like walking around and stuff, you'll get some grass and stuff that sticks into it.
Yeah.
So you always want to be super careful when you're sealing it to just make sure you're cleaned up, you ain't around a bunch of dirt, your guys aren't cracking on it,
Cracking
like
in dirt,
you know,
mud, you know.
but because on a day like this, I mean, you can already see I could probably go over there and step on those. I mean, it would make a difference. So once the sun hits it and starts curing, nothing's gonna stick to that anymore.
It's
Really,
all the
but
things that you guys would normally do when you're washing anything.
Yeah,
You don't walk on a
that's
dirty,
right.
on a clean driveway with dirty boots, right?
Yeah.
Really? Same thing.
All your guys are
Surprised. You don't see that, right?
Yeah.
Surprised.
wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Basically, you want to go for him. You stay on the driveway with your clean shoes while he runs to the
Yep.
truck.
Correct. Yep.
I take my shoes off.
Yeah, sometimes on pool decks, man, I'm in my socks, man.
I'm about to say, I seen your guy in the video. He was wearing
He's on socks.
Yeah.
That was one of the first things I noticed.
Then he doesn't have to back roll.
You can mop it on with the socks.
Make sure they're left.
Right. So yeah, we're gonna do another demonstration on. So this is your sandblasted marble. Marble in general, you really can't seal marble, but since this is sandblasted, it will penetrate and there's grooves in this stuff. But a marble that's just a flat marble, the sealer's not gonna penetrate it.
you just can't.
You can't do it.
Yeah, if it feels like a kitchen top counter and it has no pores, I mean, it's just naturally kind of sealed. There's nothing that you're gonna make a mess.
And here's the thing, guys. All this stuff you can find at the store near you.
Yeah.
All this stuff. There's nothing special about this stuff here. The only thing that I would invest in myself is going to be my sprayer and my mixers. Everything else I can buy this at the store. So you don't have to go anywhere special to find these kind of things. It's all right there.
Except Doug Rucker.
Except Doug Rucker. You got to come here. He might have these mops
Yeah.
in stock next week.
Mops and sand, baby. Mops and sand. Let's go.
Mops and sand.
I'll take 3.
Then I have people calling me saying, how do you use this?
So this is the easiest way for me. I just converted to doing this. You can get your simple schmop, your mop from any big box store, any Ace Hardware. Because what you want to do when you have more porous stone, it's not, because when you're laying down the sealer, it's going to soak in more to brick and pavers because it's a concrete base. With your travertine, your marble, your slate, your flagstone, you can either back roll or mop it on, because less is best whenever you're putting it on the substrate.
And obviously, there's no sand in these because they use grout when they put travertine together.
Most pool decks have your concrete grout. Some of them do have sand, so it just depends on what you're cleaning and doing. But you want to go nice and light. We're going to start right here. Not going to go too far. Because then Chris can use, let me spray a little bit on you so you can glide.
Like when you're doing a big project, obviously now, but you wet the bottom up a little bit. I mean, it's gonna get saturated, but.
So this way, because if you have any residual, you can just use all that with a mop and just mop everything in.
So you can already see, you see?
Oh yeah, look at that.
Look at that. Hey,
Like that.
already
Exactly.
changing it.
And I mean, that's probably honestly enough, yeah? That's it for that.
Yeah, less is best on here, man.
So that little bit covered that right there. Because you're just spreading it.
And Steve, at what price point are you charging for this?
So on pool decks, I'm at $1.50 a square to come out.
You're not using hardly
You're not
any
using
sealer.
that much sealer. You're saving in your sealer product, and you're not using any sand. So we're coming in. We're doing a soft wash treatment. Get it clean that morning. You know, it'll dry in a couple hours if you want to stick around and lay the sealer down. If not, if you got some other job to do or run some errands, come back and you and another guy can seal this in an hour.
You can see the immediate difference.
Yeah.
This is my favorite one. Here's a little bit of the color flagstone.
Hey, let's lay the flagstone on the tarp.
Yeah.
But it really makes that flagstone really pop.
Oh man, yeah. Especially like I was trying to get some more like the brown. That's what we have a lot more in Louisiana. That brown flagstone, dude. It's amazing how it makes it pop.
You said you would about 250 on the Paver.
So it depends, man. If we got a large area, and I mean there's not a lot of cleanup, like just stuff penetrating through there, I usually fluctuate between $1.50 to $1.75 because the cleaning process is like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. But I mean, I've had some situations to where you're walking through a swamp of pavers with just shit penetrating everywhere, and there's organic growth. So I'm at about $2 to $2.50 a square foot, depending on how big of an area too, because I like to play with the numbers too. So the difference with this, you can see it's more textured, more coarse and all that. So you really, in some cases with the flagstone, you can use the mop, but we like to back roll, so we're getting in between all the creases. Undulation, so we're not leaving any undulations on anything.
This is the same product. You're using it on 3 different things.
On 3 different things right here. Silicas.
It's back rolling because of the grooves.
You want to get nice and deep inside of those grooves. Make sure everything's even. And you don't want to get too ahead of yourself because you can always kind of touch up some spots and have your guy behind you just rolling into it as well.
Hey, real quick,
Yes, sir.
these 2 trucks, Ram and Cocaine, they all move over here.
Something was staying at the Marriott, right?
Yeah, the white truck? Yeah.
Just like that.
So guys, same product, man. Same product, different stones.
And look at that. We only use maybe
Yeah, that really goes pretty good.
a half a gallon. So when you're dealing with flagstone or any type of substrate with a pool deck, your coverage rate is way less than compared to pavers.
So look at the red pavers here.
Yeah, look how it's
Look at the difference.
Look at the color
Yeah.
contrast.
I mean, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looks really coming
And
out.
look, that's 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Now, what about, so I keep asking about limestone because we got so much, right? That's where they quarry.
It's a white and yellow limestone.
So,
We do a lot of that.
so what do you use on this?
I'm using the Silicon.
What a shiny on there.
You can do the Deco 20 too.
Thinking, right? Because I don't think it, I mean, that's the whole point. You have this
Right. You give
natural
you
looking
give that
limestone.
customer the option. You say, I have my matted clear coat sealant.
Yeah.
The way that you see the stone after we clean it, this is what it's going to look like.
But I mean, it's not going to be shiny, right?
Not with the Deco.
No, what's the other one? It is?
Well, it will bring out a little bit of the color contrast. I actually have a sample of limestone on the picture. I'll show you with some clear coat, silicas, and our traffic cast.
So look at this one here. Look how nice that's coming out. It's bringing out the colors in that stone.
Now, I know one thing customers are going to ask me about that. Well, is it slick on my pool deck?
So here's the thing with that. We also have,
So yes is your answer.
well, we have a preventative.
Right.
Our shark grip.
You see that?
Our shark grip is a grit powder form.
That's something, same company.
Well, you can get this from Sherwin-Williams, any Ace Hardware. You can order it online. You can see here the shark grip if you never used it. So this is an adhesive. It's a texture to help on certain stones. So this way, when those stones get wet, it's not slippery. For like kids running around the pool deck, so you got older people walking around. So there's two ways you can add this in. If you're back rolling, you can add it into the sealer and mix it up and back roll it, but you got to keep stirring it because if not, it'll settle. But the way that we do it, you get you a pancake air sprayer. You can get this from Harbor Freight. You fill this up to the top with it. You do a section at a time, like Chris would be behind me. Once we lay down the sealer, we back roll it. We finish this whole section. Chris is behind us.
While it's wet.
While it's wet. Spraying everything, and this is going to give you a good about 6 foot range of spraying that.
And is it difficult to get this spread evenly so it doesn't show? Like you don't have
You're not even going to see it.
You never see it.
Oh, you don't see it.
You
So
can
just
feel it.
disappears.
You can feel it to the
Creates
touch.
traction.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, so
I just don't want to make a mess.
Yeah, when you're shooting it, you won't even see it on it.
Right.
It's very fine.
And this is the best way to distribute it this way because it's evenly sprayed in that section that you got. Back rolling is great too, but I mean it's a lot more tedious. We like to get in and get out and get it finished. Time is money, you know.
Is that something that you just do, or is that something you add on if the customer asks?
I just do it. Just do
Oh,
it.
if it's a pool deck, you just do it.
If it's a pool deck, I add that in to do it just because I don't want to have any issues with.
With the Deco 20 though, you don't need it.
You don't need it. Correct. Correct. Just so there's no issues with the client. They're like, man, this shit is slick as goose shit right now. You know.
And that's what most of your jobs are going to be when you get to them. You're going to see a lot of faded pavers. So when you're able to take that and turn it into something like this, it's amazing. It's amazing to the homeowner. They look at it, they're like, wow, I didn't even know my pavers looked like that. So when you're able to take a faded paver and turn it into something like this, you're winning already. You gonna dump that in there?
Yeah.
Okay. We're
So
gonna
I'm just thinking about, now people do their gardens in the stones.
the stones all around it.
Y'all do it.
Yeah.
Most of those.
Yeah, I seal those too. Yep.
Are you removing them, or are you doing it right on the bed?
I'm
on the island?
washing them, and I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use my shield on the other side of the stone, and I'm just gonna spray.
If they're stacked up.
Even if they're stacked up.
Doing it
Yep.
outside.
Yep. Because I don't know if you know much about those, but once you remove one, trying to figure out the pattern again, it's not fun. Yeah.
So now that we're finished with using our silicas, you know, you always want to keep your extra. You know, you want to save money. And then also is cleaning out all your sprayers. You know, because if not, you're just you're wasting money, man.
This is the same bucket. We're just gonna go ahead, wipe off the bucket so it's not sticky. We're gonna put it away. We'll use it for another job.
Right.
So you can potentially make a lot of money off of one bucket. As opposed to your two parts, the moment that you crack that bucket open and you mix, you got about 3 hours to play with that. And then you're done with it.
When I started spraying too far, and that was my biggest problem, was having, leftover material, they're mixing too much. And everybody says, well, you need to get better at mix. Dude, when you're doing 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 square feet, you're just mixing. You're trying to get going. So you're going to have some left over. And when you see, you know, $150 worth of sealer sitting in your bucket, you're done and you ain't got nothing to do. It's kind of heartbreaking. So that's one reason I started working with and trying the Silicast and fell in love with it.
So Mr. Doug got this area cleaned up this morning. We went ahead and surface cleaned it. We put a little SH on it, let it dwell in for about 15 minutes, rinse it off. We didn't really have time to, you know, extract the old stains in here, but that's something that could be an upsell for you using the F9 products with that. We are going to go ahead and seal over this. You don't want to do that with a customer, but we didn't have the time to get it cleaned properly. So.
And some customers might just say, just go ahead and seal it with the oil. They might say that. You want him to pour it and talk to you? Yeah. There you go.
So with this here, with the Deco 20, as y'all can see, it's more, it's really a clear coat. It's not as, what you want to,
You gotta take the top off.
yeah, no, you don't have to.
Cap. He just wants to turn the cap on it so that way he gets it in the pour.
Right.
Which is nice too because you can actually.
Yeah, if y'all want to come take a look at it
Yeah.
inside, man, it's just, it looks like water.
So this stuff here, look how clear. You guys come in, take a look. Look, you can actually, there's nothing that's gonna damage anything, and no burn, nothing. Just you put your hand right in it, okay? So it's easy.
And you mix it up because there's something suspended in there too.
It settles to the bottom. So you just on any seal that you're using, you just want to give it a nice
Forward, remember, there you go. You guys can see? You can touch it. So you see how he's pouring it nice and smooth like that?
So we're at 2 gallons right now that we just poured into here.
And even that, even with the wind blowing it up, it's tough. Almost like you can finally start to want to protect your grass. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
We can start that, Steven.
I'm gonna see if I can reach out this way.
I'll pull you quickly.
Yeah. I'm just gonna flush into the drain.
Okay.
Run that water through. Let's go ahead and go over here first. We're gonna go ahead and flush the line out that has any water in it from previous cleaning. I like to give it about 20 seconds or so. So you want to make sure that you're always working your way out from something, so you're not boxing yourself in to, you know, step on the sealer. So we're gonna. And look, with the Deco 20, it's gonna dry really fast too. And the thing is, less is best. I mean, it's okay if you put a little overlap on it as well, but you kind of want to move with it. You don't want to start sealing and then stop here and then go take a water break, because you want to finish this whole section because it's going to dry super, super fast. Usually you want to have this taped up so you're not having anything, you know, spray back.
And you would go all the way to the building, obviously, if you know.
But obviously he doesn't care here.
Yeah.
You're not going to hurt that.
Okay.
I think it's gonna help it.
Yeah.
No.
It's going to help protect it, though.
Yeah.
Call if we get a water leak.
Oh, can you put that on metal surfaces? No.
You can see how it's starting to dry right here, and I'm just kind of overlapping it right there. That's fine. It's going to dry to it.
When it all dries, you won't even know what's on there.
Right.
But it's up to you as
do
an
apply
applicator.
it, if you do apply it and it fully dries, and then you spray over it, it's not going to stick. It could create a little bit of white film in that area. So you always want to work with a wet edge.
You got it. Bam.
So next time you guys come to buy product, you'll be able to look at it, and if it rains or something, it's just going to roll right off of it.
Explain to them a little bit more about what you said about work with
2 gallons.
a
Wet
wet
edge.
edge.
So it's kind of like painting. When you paint, you always want to work with a wet edge to help keep from the striping. So that's what you're doing here. So if I've already sprayed all this and it dries and it looks like this up here, then I come back and I spray over it again, it's not going to penetrate. So it's not going to do what it's supposed to do. It's going to sit on top
Where the dry
where
edge meets
where the
your-
drying edge was. So it's going to sit on top, so you're not going to get, it's just going to turn like a little white film
Right.
on there. So that's your sealer drying like it's supposed to. So you always want to work wet so it doesn't do that, and it can mix to itself.
2 coats or 1 coat on this?
One coat.
1 coat.
Well, because if you did the second coat, then we'd be doing
You
what
just
you
have
just
a bunch
said.
of white.
Yeah, it'll haze over and it'll leave like a white type of film that's on there.
And that coat, you don't want any more than that. I mean, your spray technique is similar to like what I teach on a roof. You want
Correct.
just a nice,
The motto with this is less is best.
you don't want it flooding.
You don't want a flood coat.
And that was on a roof, that would have been a heavy coat.
Right.
You want to do even lighter on a roof. So if I'm doing a roof, if I can't look at the barrels this way, then I would be with a pump up, or not a pump up sprayer, but a cone tip, and I would be doing this.
Circular motions.
The
more.
circular motions. I use the fan tip on everything else, but in that situation, I use a circular motion.
And especially with the way the tiles are laid and grooved in those sections,
Right.
I would rather do a roof that way. I've never sealed a roof personally.
Yeah, we had.
We don't really have tile roofs in Louisiana.
Well, I was talking about cleaning a roof, spraying bleach on a roof.
Right.
Less is better,
Less is better, correct.
than more. You just want a nice, moist coat on it, which looks like pretty much the same thing here.
Right.
And of course, you wouldn't want to do this right here if you wouldn't want to pour water on pavers or anything like that to see if it's sealed or not until a couple days after, and you come back and check on the property if you want to. But over here, we already started pouring water on the stone, and it'll just run down. So if you come over here, you see we even got a water bubble right here already. Okay? So if you pour it on here,
No penetration.
no penetration in the stone at all. And that's just the beginning. Like, you know, again, you wouldn't want to do this if you just laid it like we just laid it down on here. But just to show you guys that it works, and these stones we're going to get rid of anyways, this is where it is. So you can actually move it around. It's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
See, it's
see
just
how
going
it
to
just
run.
rolls off? Same thing, it's the same concept on the driveway.
So, see, it's just going to roll it all the way down. I haven't tried on these yet. I don't know if these
Still
are
kinda
ready.
drying.
Yeah, these are still kind of drying.
Picture this before you put that in. 'Cause it looks quite different in color, right? Didn't it
It's still.
Yeah, you see how it brought out the different grays? And,
That and this, right? That wasn't there
Correct.
before, right?
Correct.
Flip it over, look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever natural colors are in it, it's going to bring out those veins and stuff.
So this is another one here, the pavers. Freshly new, still sitting on top. See how the brick does with
But we
it.
don't recommend putting the water on it.
It's just a demonstration.
So, yeah, this is just demonstration. We're getting rid of the stones, but
Yeah.
gonna
That's what
run.
you're getting though.
don't go doing this and then calling us up and say, hey man,
Pour this water down in
you
45
said-
minutes.
What's the drive time on the concrete?
on the concrete, I think it was what, 24?
Dry time?
No, drive time.
Drive time.
Drive time, 24 hours
On this?
on the concrete.
It's going to happen a little sooner than that.
4 weeks.
You're fine.
4 weeks, yeah.
We're shut down for 4 weeks.
You're going to have to throw everybody what you got into the shop, man.
But you know, you can walk on it once you start seeing it dried up.
Right.
Basically, once it goes back to looking like dry concrete, you can really walk on it now, but you want to tell your customers to stay off of it, basically so they don't trap.
And that water's gonna stay right there.
And look, if y'all are still here within an hour, man, because we're doing 2 giveaways also. I mean, this should have plenty of time to dry.
We'll run it?
We'll put this hose on it, man, and it's just going to beat off of there and run off this concrete, man. So,
Is this your water too? Over here?
and we're also, with the giveaways, man, if y'all want to fill out, we got some little sheets of paper to put your name, your business, your contact information, and an email. We're going to do a drawing, man, and give away a Deco 20 with some Deco gear, and then we're also giving away one of the car sprayers as well, too. So if y'all didn't fill one out.
So you're working with a ground man. Make sure the ground man is working with you, wetting all the plants, house, wood, anything the bleach is going to touch before, during, and after the root sprayer. One very important thing to make sure you're keeping wet is the exterior of the gutters, especially if you're using a really strong mix, because if it hits it and kind of rolls, drips down it, it's going to stripe it. So you got to make sure you're keeping the gutters wet and you're keeping them rinsed when you're spraying. If you're spraying like we did yesterday from the ground up, that mist can hit the gutters. So you gotta make sure
bounces off the top of the gutters, rolls down.